Friends, good morning. Maybe you are watching this video in night or evening, but that's okay. So as you can see, we will gonna discuss about Fermat principle today. So before discussing about it, I have some suggestions for you. So you can change the playback speed if you want, and if the video quality is not good, so you can also change it. Okay, so let's begin. So in 1658, Fermat gave a principle, and this principle combines the three laws we have studied before. These are rectilinear propagation, laws of reflection, and laws of refraction. So maybe you have forgotten these all, so I will remind you all these three laws. So first of all, rectilinear propagation. In a homogeneous medium, light always travels in straight lines, and this is the rectilinear propagation. So between 2 points in a homogeneous medium, light always chooses a least distant path. Or you can say a straight line is the path of least distance. You can take an example to understand it. Place 2 or 3 cardboards beside each other. Make a hole across all these cardboards and place a candle in front of these holes. So you will find light will travel in a straight path from these holes. And this is the rectilinear propagation of light. And now move on to the laws of reflection. So before discussing about laws of reflection, I am gonna remind you reflection. What is reflection? When a light ray incident on a smooth shiny surface, it bounces off back in another direction, and this process is called the reflection. And now moving on to the laws of reflection. So basically there are two laws of reflection. So according to the first law, the incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal, these all three lie on the same plane. I am explaining you by the diagram also. So it is a rough diagram. Here xy is a plane shiny surface of an object, and the light ray incident on the this plane surface, and then it got reflected back in another direction, and this is the normal. This dotted line express the normal of this smooth shiny surface. So first law of reflection state that this incident ray, and this is the reflected ray, and this is the normal. These all three lines lies on a one single plane. You can easily understand by this diagram that these three lines, this incident ray, reflected ray, and this is the dotted line, that is normal. These all are on the same plane. If you consider a plane here, you will find that all these three lines are on the same plane, and this is the first law of reflection. And now moving on to the second law. According to the second law, angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. It can also understand by the diagram. So as you can see, the angle of incidence is the angle made by the incident line with normal, and it is represented by I, whereas angle of reflection is the angle made by the reflected ray with the normal, and it is represented by small r. So according to the second law, I equal to r means the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. This is the second law of reflection. And now moving on towards the laws of refraction. So before discussing about laws of refraction, I will tell you the definition of refraction, or what is refraction. So refraction is the change in direction of a wave passing from one medium to another medium. When we were talking about the reflection, the light ray was traveling in the same medium. But when we discuss about refraction, light ray travels in the two different mediums. And like reflection, light ray also changes its path in the diffraction also. So now we will discuss the laws of refraction. The first law of refraction is just similar to the laws of reflection. So according to the first law of refraction, the incident ray and the refracted ray and the normal, all these three lines lie on the same plane. It just sounds similar to the first law of reflection, but it is a little different. In the reflection there was reflected ray, and in the law of refraction there is a refracted ray. So I am gonna explain this also by the diagram. So these two are the two rough diagrams. Actually my drawing is not so good, and this time I also don't have scales. So please just focus to understand the concept. don't notice the diagram much. So as you can see, there are two cases in the process of refraction. First is when the light ray travels from rarer medium to denser medium, and the second one is when the light ray travels from denser medium to rarer medium. You can take any of the mediums in the place of rarer and denser medium, as there are two laws of refraction, so both of the law apply on the both cases. So firstly I am explaining you the cases. So according to the first case, as you can see, when a light ray incident on the surface of a denser medium, then after got refracted, it bends towards the normal. In the case of rarer to denser medium, you can see in the diagram the light ray is bending towards the normal. But when we talk about the second case, the light ray bend away from the normal, because now it is traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. So according to first law, incident ray, reflected ray and the normal, these all three lines are on the same plane. So if you consider a plane here, so you will easily understand that the refracted ray, incident ray and the normal, these all three are on the same plane. And now second law of refraction. According to the second law, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is always constant. It is also called Snell's law because it is given by Snell. So here I is the angle of incidence and the R is the angle of refraction. I hope you understood. And now moving on to the main concept, that is the Fermat principle. So Fermat principle is the single principle that explains all these three laws. So there are also two statements of the Fermat principle. So here is the first statement. You can note it down in your copy if you want. A ray of light is passing from one point to another by any number of reflections or refractions, chooses a path along which the time taken is the least or minimum. Means the ray of light always chooses a path which is minimum from one point to another during any number of reflections or refraction. Very simple language, I think you can easily understand. But remember one thing, this statement is only applicable for the plane surfaces, reflections or refractions at plane surfaces. But when we talk about the spherical surfaces, there comes another statement. So it is the second statement. You can also note it down in your copy. A ray of light passing from one point to the other through any number of reflections or refractions follows a path for which the optical path is either minimum or maximum, that is extremum. Again, very simple language, friends. Actually the first statement is very easy. You can understand by a simple example. Like if you are going to the market or anywhere, you will always choose a path that is the shortest one. Means you always take shortcut to save your time. The same thing is with light. Light also takes the path that is the shortest, least or minimum. But one more thing you have to add in the second statement, that is maximum. Means light will either take the minimum path or the maximum distant path in case of spherical surfaces. Also there is a diagram for Fermat's principle. As you can see, there are 2 points P and Q, and A is the shortest path between P and Q, and we consider another path B. So you can see at each point between path A and B there is a distance. So the maximum distance between the path A and B, we consider it ds, and it is the distance ds. This line represents the distance ds, that is the maximum distance between the path A and the path B. As path A is shorter than the path B, so light wave will take less time in the path A as compared to the path B. So there will be a time difference and we consider it dt. So the time difference by the light from by traveling from path A and by traveling from path B. So according to the Fermat principle, if ds is not too large, means the difference between A and path B is not too large, it is very small, so we can consider that dt upon ds is equal to 0. It is the Fermat principle. I hope you guys understand, but still if there is any doubt, you can ask me in the comment box, and share this video with your friends and learn more amazing concepts with me. So keep watching, keep supporting. Thank you.